You're listening to Redman in the House. Hey, it's a podcast.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Redman in the House. Hey, it's a podcast. As always, I am RBV, but joined beside me, the man, the myth, the Hall of Famer, an absolute legend, Mr. Redman. How we doing? Back at it here.
I know. I'm looking at you. I'm impressed. Got your hairstyling and profiling. Look at him. He's starting to be a star himself.
Well, that's what we had a little bit of that hold off there in between episodes because it takes that long for me to get looking this
Makeup.
half fun, half.
I always
We'll
tell
bleep
them
that out.
they don't have enough makeup for me. So, but yeah, it's good to be back. A couple of weeks. Cais has been busy. You've been busy. A lot of things going on. A lot of racing going on this week. Have you noticed?
A lot of racing, a lot on television, YouTube, whichever way you want to follow it there. But hey, as you said, Redman, I've been super busy. We've had some big time events there at Edgewater. Some of the maybe not so traditional. A few weeks ago, we had a little gimmick called Truck Fest. Truck Fest. It's all about them big diesel trucks, man. It was a lot of fun. I got to tell you, I was blown away. I didn't know that genre had the following that it does. Much younger demographic.
You've never seen the jet truck, have you? When Bob Moats had it.
I know of it. I've never seen it.
Oh, what a show that was! We used to see him a lot up Norwalk, and then Edgewater had him way back in the day, a couple times, and he put on a good show. Especially they turned the lights out. He played this real spooky music. It was really a neat show up there at Norwalk every year.
Now the big hit there was our Truck Fest, though. We had a couple classes there, index racing, and then some specialty groups there for the big old pickup trucks on the track. It was kind of cool. A lot of people that had never got that experience, so they got to get out there. But the real highlight, the real attraction, is we installed a burnout pit.
Wow!
Now that was the draw. They had stands around over there. That place was they were going all day, and it was packed over there. But I'll tell you what also made it very, very special, and it kind of goes along with our big event that we just had this past weekend at Edgewater, which was Slamology.
Oh, yeah.
For those of you who don't know what that is, it is actually the world's biggest in the entire world, car audio competition, car show, and live music festival. So we used the entire grounds. We had a huge stage up there in that front field that was rocking all weekend with DJs, musicians. Then we had the car audio competition, which is a lot like, drag racing, like bracket racing. So instead of, you have your ET, well, they got a limit where they got to hit their decimals. They got to be able to hold it, to advance on in the competition. And of course, the car show, there was, I know over camping, they had their camping at Gravel Rama, the event with us. They had over 1,000 people camping. There was like 1,000 cars there.
That's great.
But to kind of tie the two together, which made them such a great success, is you've got all these things going on, but vendors. If it's people that are there selling retail there, T-shirts, or just even outside of the race world, showing their products and their services there.
Yeah.
It was great.
And a good chance to find sponsorship if a racer would have been around. You never know.
That's one of those networks. I always thought I was joking with Ronnie Wilson. Works at Edgewater with me as one of our starters there. I was joking he should bring those worlds together. We need to make his dragster. He's also a racer. Make his dragster a base machine. So when he gets up there and they're getting staged and he hits that boom, the other person's going to jump that line. But very, very cool. Something so different. I got to be a part Slamology from the setup to the breakdown, which was a heck of a story with the rains coming in and a tent lifting me up off the ground.
Wow.
But a great weekend had. But you always talk about that. It's those special attractions, those extra features that make these events.
Well, I used to do a car show for the Legion here, local Legion host, and we had one of those where they plug, but you never heard it outside. They plug it inside to them cars. You see that car rocking because them speakers are going crazy. And it was pretty neat to watch how they did their contests. And a lot of kids got in it when they had them big boom boxes and all that stuff.
Oh, it was. That's another thing I really liked about it, because that style was really, really big when I was a kid in the 90s, like high school. And here, you guys used to do like the car hops at the lots and all that. But in the 90s here locally in Harrison, we had big lots in Kmart. So, and you'd hear those, believe me, you heard this. I think they heard this all over the tri-state. These guys were loud, but it was very, very cool. So what have you been doing here? It's been about 10 days since we got
busy
together.
Here
What have you been
Post.
watching?
We've been here busy at the Post. Had a couple benefits going on, helping them out. Good music going on. Had some good bands this weekend.
Some good bike
Fantastic bands.
rallies. Talking
Oh
talking
yeah.
about some noise and some speed.
And just been doing that, getting some things done around the house I usually need to do that I don't get done. But back to racing, I was going to tell you there's a double at Norwalk this weekend, big race for all the sportsman racers. Then there's the IHRA Triple Crown starts at Columbus this weekend, which is the first leg of that $1 million race they're running for. So you got to win this one to go to the next two to win the million. You got to win all three races. And so that's going on. Plus, if you're an old timer like me, you got the hot rod reunion going on in Bowling Green with all the nostalgia stuff, old dragsters, old gassers, old everything. And I just saw a film on it just on Facebook. Put a new road in Bowling Green, which I'm proud of because I always ask about, why don't you put a road back through that way? A guy was filming it on his golf cart. It was pretty neat to see. So yeah, there's three big events within about 6-7 hours of each other going on this week. So
very, very cool. It's good to see the different tracks out there thriving. We know right now everyone trying to survive and try to find that new niche going forward. I think our conversation here, what you can take from that is there's opportunity. Work with the community, get some vendors in there, a special draw for your events outside of. Obviously, you want that racing to be that main event, but there's a number of other things that you can bring. Oh, we had. I met this group here. It's called Bandit Shakers. It's a lemonade truck.
Wow.
So I was down there at Edgewater on Friday morning, and I'm helping set up, direct where they're going and make sure that we are not doubling up on certain tiles truck. But I was helping out with the food truck setup. And Rob calls me and he says, "All right, the lemonade truck's here." And I see this trailer. It's probably a 30-foot trailer. And I'm like, there is no effing way that's a lemonade truck. No way. He pulls right up, the lemonade guy. It was Smokey and the Bandit theme.
Wow.
So he is just the lemonade stand was about as wide as we are here, but the rest of that trailer, he had a Trans Am back there.
Wow.
So he pulled that out. Everything on his trailer had to do with Smoking the Bandit. Even with the semi, he had the tall stacks that actually put smoke out there in the day. You talk about showmanship. He knew how to bring it. He had just as many people over there just wanting to take the photo with the car, and he had the backdrop and all that. But his lemonade was absolutely fantastic. Bandits Shakers out of Northwest Indianapolis came down for this.
Yeah, okay.
So there was a lot of other good food, but that was my favorite. My friend
that I met. I always tell everybody gimmicks. You gotta have gimmicks. You can run a stale event, just keep going, and you're gonna die. You always got to come up with some little new, unique thing to try to get things rolling and get people's interest, pique their interest to come. I know we do that around here. Got different things going on, like tonight with the cruising. We got our Thursday night cruising. Well, we do the cash for wheel of cash, we call it. I'm sorry, and it don't cost you. Put your name in the bucket, you draw it out, you get a chance to spin the wheel and win the cash if you hit our number. And if you don't hit it, then we add money to it the next week.
In addition to that, you got the awesome food that's available from the food truck that's on.
Mama Nay's.
Mama Nay's, great, just a traditional American grub.
Right.
We have the DJ.
Right.
Got DJ Summers here, doing great. And you got the wheel of cash, and then all the awesome rides that come in. There's a lot going on to bring it out here.
Oh yeah, to keep you rolling. So that's the thing you want to do is gimmicks and come up with something new. Like we do 4 awards, actually 5 for 5 weeks in a month. And we got the Commander's Award, the Duell Award, Mama Nay gives an award, and then we have the Kim Credit Union Award, and then we have the DJ's Choice. And they're all neat because the trophy is different. Like the DJ Choice has got a microphone on it. Kimbra's Credit Union's got a dollar sign. Mama Nay's has got a smoker. They're the neatest trophies to give away you ever seen. And it's like I say, you go and look in the book, come up with a gimmick like that, and people love them. They're better than the standard trophy like you normally get at a car show or whatever. And heavy too, so you're not going to pitch these things like a frisbee.
That's cool.
You got something good in your hand.
We got to get involved in that. We should do a special week with the podcasters pick.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. We can work on that. We can do that real good.
Absolutely. Hey, let's get back in the groove of some of our featured segments here.
All right.
You want to go? You want to go cruising, or
whichever way you want to. If you want to start with the cars,
let's take that cruise down memory lane. What do we got here this week?
The first pick is a '55 Chevrolet. Not sure who it was. Another good modified car back in the day. And Edgewater would have a ton of modified cars back in the day. 55s were a hot thing, 55, 6, and 7. Chevrolets were the big deal back then. They either run gas or modified. But this was a good little car. I had like a 327 in it. It was really excellent. And then the next little car was from over in the Covington area. And it was an A comp car, and he ran a 409 in it. And it was green, and he extended the wheelbase. This is when it was shorter. And that car was neat. And the reason it was called A comp is it's got like a body on it, like a sedan body or coupe body on it, where a dragster is just a dragster. And that's when they come up with the classes A comp, B comp, C comp, double A comp. They would have a body on it. And pretty neat car. He was out of Kentucky there, like I say, and he won quite a few rounds in complimentary. There'd be him, Bill King, Cigar C. Bolt. Maybe there'd be a few running at her, banging on each other's head, and it was a pretty neat deal. So, and we'll come up with more of them when we get further down the road here. So that's a couple this week of the rides
You
back
said that,
in
that
the
was a
day.
409?
Yeah. And
Remember
then
that song?
Yeah,
409.
409.
409.
And then again, look at the crowds behind the cars there. Now that's the pit area. They ain't count what people were on this side, but the pit area. So it's a pretty neat deal. And then this week, going into another segment, two of our mini celebration of lives. I went back a few years. This goes way back when we had the Winston races. This boy was out of Mississippi, a young fellow, drove a truck. That's how I met his demise. He was in a trucking accident, and his name was Billy Mansell. And I tell you what a driver. This kid was hot in the gas cars. He had a Corvette, and he ran for a lot of years, and then he was in that trucking accident. But the kid was really top notch and could handle a 4-speed. He was a bad cat today. And then my other one here for the day is Jim Baberka. Jim's out of the Pittsburgh area, great guy, Division 1 stalwart, ran super stock J automatic for years, had a 69 Camaro, division champion a lot of times. I don't think Jim ever was world, but stout car, beautiful cars. All his cars all the way up to the present day were just gorgeous cars Jim had. Him and his wife, such nice folks. And Jim would always come in and say, Redman, he said, I got about 10 guys coming. He said, can you give us an area? You know, my Division 1 cronies. And I said, sure. So I give him a little area. He would take care of them as I'd pull up to him. And Jim was a great guy and friendly. And he was sponsored by his Chevrolet dealership there in Pittsburgh. I went to it one time, pick up a car. And I asked the guy, I said, this name looks familiar, this dealer. And I said, yeah, I got a Jim Baberka here, do you? And he goes, that's my service manager. And I said, is he here? And he goes, no, he's on vacation. I said, daggone it. But yeah, they were neat people. So great folks. So yeah, we have all this going on. They were great guys. And like I said, Mansell was a stout guy in the gas days. You would have loved watching him back in the day.
Very cool.
He ran Edgewater. He came to one of our points meet all the way out of Mississippi. So
wow.
Yeah, he was pretty stout. So, and then our next little segment, we started teams, right? So, hey, this week we got the Rod Shop. Now, there was a badass group of cars back in the day, the Rod Shop. They had Gene Dunlap, Bob Riffle. I can't think of some of the other guys that drove. Dave Borkman drove for him in Super Stock. And his wife she drove a wagon, Judy. And they were a stout team, and it was based out of, the company was out of Columbus, but the cars were based out of the Ohio and Michigan area, and had a lot of great cars. We'll have some pictures of some of the cars later. There's like a Colt running a station wagon, a Colt station wagon that ran all of it, was badass. Bob Riffle ran the gas classes, back in the day a double B gasser. It was a Barracuda body style. And he also ran pro stock a short time, had a Anglia. Bob drove about anything and everything. Bob was a stout driver, Bob Riffle. And it was a hell of a team back in the day, one of the strongest. And then we was going on, we was telling story time, right? Trying to give some of the history and laughs and stuff. Back when I was a spectator, me and my first wife.
That was
You're talking 64 probably. I'm down to Edgewater. Bob Seabolt's running somebody and running comp dragsters. and Bob felt like he got gouged. And he comes back up the return road and brings his dragster around and parks it on the starting line. Well, guess what? Nobody's racing. And they didn't know what to do, and they didn't want to arrest him, and they were into a quagmire of what we're going to do at Edgewater with him. And they wound up eventually calling it a night, and until he get things soothed out. But yeah, old Bob was a character. He had a little short fuse, you know.
So he's like, hey, he's going to put a halt to
Oh yeah, he halted
up.
the whole racing gig that night. So.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
So what do you remember what you're thinking as a fan watching?
Well,
this,
yeah, I was disappointed because he wasn't into the finals yet, you know.
Right.
And, you know, you got the gassers ready to run, stock and super stock, and it's like, wow, you know, it's crazy, you know. So we had canceled the show early. It was bad. So, but they eventually settled Bob down. He come back the next week and race. So he was something else. Another little short story I got one night. I'm down there and they got a Corvette running into sports classes, and it would fall into the gas modified eliminator, and it ran. I think he ran B Sports, a bad Corvette, and I don't think we got to the picture of him yet, but I'll have it. Well, somebody finally had enough of him winning every week, so they protested him. Oh yeah, put the money up, said we want this car tore down. I stood out there like a dummy, young guy, 3 a.m, and they're still tearing this car down. And it was so funny when the tech shed was out the base of the hill. And it was a hoot. Of course, my girlfriend, she was getting furious, so she went and sit in the car. But I had to sit there and see how this was going to play out, you know. But yeah, the Corvette got bumped. So, and that was pretty neat. And then we turn around. We got a new thing here that we talked about we was going to start doing um, names. So I'm going to start out kind of in the professional field a little bit. And these will be basics that everybody should remember, but just great titles. And we know who the baddest one was.
Right.
Don Gartless, nicknamed Big Daddy.
Big Daddy.
With a car named Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Swamp Snake?
No, Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing, okay.
Oh, yeah. Or no, Swamp. God,
I'm looking, it says Snake right there.
But it was, yeah, he ran Top Fuel, funny car, right? Or not funny car. Well, he did have a funny car once. No top. It was a Dart. It didn't go real well. They ran it about a year or two. But his car, Swamp Rat. That's what.
Swamp Rat. The swamp. There it is. Yeah. Swamp Rat. Yeah, you got it there.
And then, but yeah, he was probably the biggest name at the time in drag racing. One of the all-time leaders of the sport.
The Swamp Rat.
Yeah. And then the next one is Don the Snake Perdome.
The Snake.
And the Snake, he was born Hawaiian.
That's where the Snake was at.
Oh yeah.
The Snake.
And Don he started out in Top Fuel, and then he eventually drifted into the funny cars, and he had a lot of sponsors where he had Mattel one year, where they had the Mattel cars. Then they turned around, he had Skoal sponsorship one time, tobacco, chewing tobacco, or the snuff. And God, who else did he have? He had the U.S. Army for years, which he tore them up for years, sponsored by the U.S. Army. But yeah, the Snake he was a character too. And Don, both of them guys are still with us. Gartless is about 94, 3, somewhere in there. And then Snake's up pushing 90, I think, if he's not already. But two of the legends, two of the main stalwarts back when drag racing was really getting rolling.
That is awesome.
And they were great. And the last thing I got to cover this week is we talked about married couples. A little couple out of the West Coast, Bob and Charlene Gullett. Neat couple. I met them while I was working the West Coast. I met them in Vegas, Pomona, Phoenix, Seattle, and Bob, he runs like a 68 Nova and G stick 4-speed car, black, and he's stout. And then his wife, Charlene, she runs an Oldsmobile and GT class, and she's a sweetheart. And they come in, she drives her rig, he drives his rig. Of course, we always get them side by side.
Right.
But they're a neat couple. I met them and really fine folks. And that's pretty basically in the nutshell of everything we covered this week. I know we're a little fast talking on it because I guess getting geared back up since we've been a little off for a couple of weeks. But it's exciting. I'm hoping people are starting to look at it. I'm trying to get the word out
It's growing, it's
myself.
growing, it's growing. Each and every episode is growing.
Yeah.
I go back and I share some of the old ones as well because I think that's it's very cool about the conversations we have. They're not very time sensitive. We're getting out some information that you can listen to I think from years from now and still get some value out of it.
Well, that's what I wanted. I wanted when we started to talk about things that people could relate to. Yeah, they can relate to I broke out by 1/10,000th of a second or 1% or something mechanical or sponsorship or
See,
stuff like I watch a lot
I
of the
like
other
our
shows.
purpose. Where it's not so much the nuts and bolts. We're talking to a grander audience that I hope maybe we'll reach some potential new people that see the passion that you
Oh
have,
yeah,
that what brought you here were the great team names of the past, and maybe those that can inspire those to go, theme their car, gimmick their car. That's going to bring in those new wave of fans, and
right.
that ultimately is more than anything what we need back in drag racing is
Well,
that spectator element, that passion. I know there's so tremendous passion from the drivers, and we do want to grow.
mhm.
And I think if more fans that we bring in those eyes, maybe they'll be more inclined, even like the sportsman class. Hey, let me
Or
get
give
out
it a
there and give that a
try.
shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've introduced a new little, not an index, but a class that we're calling the Street Fighter class.
Hmm.
And it's supposed to be, you got to be 14-0 higher and all that,
Hmm.
but it's built for those that don't have that background, that
Right.
pro experience. We ran a lady Street Fighter 2 weeks ago, and we got a sponsor. We had a jewelry store put something up. Thru at Auto Shop. They took care of all the entries for everyone that got into it, and it was really
And now
exciting.
you know what they used to call that. We're going to go back in history. Come on, powder puff.
Powder Puff. Okay,
Oh yeah, the girls would run
I
against
remember. I
girls.
remember
Oh
Powder
yeah.
Puff football. I didn't know. Okay,
Oh
so
yeah, they used to call it powder puff, and they'd be girls get in there. They'd be, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8, up to 10 of them. They get in there, be street cars. A couple of them would have legalized race cars, and they just bang on each other until the winner got the
well,
trophy.
what the beautiful thing about drag racing though is it's equal opportunities because and it's
Hmm.
actually maybe a little bit more in favor of the ladies because it's scientifically proven that they have a better you
Hmm.
know hand-eye reaction time and all
Hmm.
that. So they dominate in that competitive side, but this is for like those great wives, girlfriends, kids that
Oh
come
yeah.
out there that they haven't got to experience that. They're just as important to that race day experience, but it could be to anybody that wants to get out there. We're
Oh
going to run
yeah.
some different styles of that. Speaking of slamology, it was a great idea. We worked really close with Three Rivers Taylor
Hmm.
High School. Had them on. We included their grounds, so their concession can make money, their boosters. But in doing that, each track could get out there for like that, not the traditional junior
Oh
class,
yeah.
but like a high school class
Right.
to get them out there involved.
Exactly. Well, they did have that for a
I
while
know they
with the
existed in the
brackets.
past.
They
Yes,
used to have high school, and they each track would send one kid to Indianapolis to the ET finals, and they would run against
you
the
got to
other
represent your
tracks. Oh
school, and
yes.
that's even a little extra
Well,
pride.
and
You
your
go
track.
state
So
champ,
Edgewater would have a guy,
right?
Tri-State, Kilcare, Columbus, you name the tracks all in Division III. Well, if you had 20 tracks, there'd be 20 kids running against each
That gives
other
me a
for
little
the
idea. Maybe we'll share
yeah.
those later, but I want to pick your brain on something about a
Oh
high
yeah.
school city championship. Maybe we could get
Hmm.
going at Edgewater or something like that.
Yeah, well, they used to try to do that in the I don't know what the title is now, machine shop, I guess, in high school. They tried to get. I know
Mhm.
Danny Kyle was big on trying to teach mechanics, and I know at the vocational school at Versailles, a guy named DeWitt who ran a lot of roundy round and who was in partners with a guy named Terry Ingersoll on a stocker years ago. He worked at the one at Versailles. And so, they used to have that. And it kind of, I don't know, went off the sunset or,
Right.
it's people spread out. Sometimes we don't need to do that now. And it's like, then it dies, and it's hard sometimes to get that stuff back because, we were talking earlier coming down the road. We used to have a dance here, and I don't know how y'all feel out there, but as well as I do, you go every year, and then all of a sudden they don't have the dance. Well, you wind up going somewhere else, right? Well, about 2 or 3 years later, you go, let's put a dance on.
Everyone's found some other
Nobody
stuff to do.
comes. You can't,
Well,
find.
I didn't want to hurt your feelings when we're
Mhm.
having a private conversation, but I guess I'll let everybody know the real reason people stopped coming to dance because you were dancing with all the pretty girls. No one else could get a dance in.
I used to be a pretty good dancer. I can't do much of it anymore.
Everyone else was a wallflower. You had all
Yeah.
the pretty girls out there to yourself. So
Yeah, I went from the dancing part to karaoke, and
you
yeah.
heard it here, Redman, the karaoke king.
Oh God,
What's
yeah.
the song?
A lot
What's
of
the song?
racers, my big ones. You Can Leave Your Hat On by Joe Cocker, and
All right.
there's a show goes with that. It's well worth the price of admission. And then I do a
It's
few
a
others.
little dinner on the show with Redman.
Oh yeah, but we got to come up with things to save the sport. And like I've said in the past, learn the history. If you learn the history, we can come to where we're at now in the future. You got to come to the future, and if you know what you've done in the past, it makes it even better. And a lot of folks don't do that. They just sit there and think this stuff comes out of turn the lights on, here we go. It takes planning, it takes working, and it takes building and explain to the young folks, this is where we came from. This is how all this got started. It just didn't boom, pop up here and we start doing it. It's just like, all these legends we talk about, my mini series on the people we've lost, they're the ones that carried it on their backs to get it to where it is today.
Absolutely. That's what kind of our mission here with our show is to highlight that rich tradition, everything from that past, so that we can use that as fuel moving forward to make drag racing, America, and just life a little bit better for everybody out there. Hey, Redman, as we wrap things up, hey, I would like to invite everybody. Come down Father's Day weekend at Edgewater. We got 3 big days of racing. We're going to get it going Friday night. Little TNT to set it up, tune and test at its absolute best. Saturday, we got bracket racing. Best of the best bracket racing. It's a points race at Edgewater. So get in that.
Got to get in points.
Get in them points. You got a chance to go make those big runs for a world championship.
They go to Norwalk.
Well, we're IHR now.
So. Right. So I don't know. I think there's if it gets finished, it's supposed to be in Memphis. I don't know where they'll have it.
You know a little something about down there. That's a good little town to get to.
Yeah, I've been to. We'll have some stories on Memphis.
See, we might just do a Memphis special where you talk about the hot spots in the party life down there.
Some of them might be X-rated, but we'll get them by.
And on Sunday, we got a muscle car Sunday index special, and plus all of our other muscle car classes coming at you. But I'll be on the stick all weekend. Love to call you, making your shots down the track. Come see us at Edgewater this Father's Day weekend. Edgewater. Redman, anything you want to add?
If you get a chance, we were talking about this nostalgia stuff. One of these years, make the Hot Rod Reunion in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Beautiful little racetrack, great owners, and a great time. You will see stuff that's all like pre-78. There's nothing newer than a 78 racing there.
Wow.
And it is just neat to see the old 55 Anglias, Willys, 54 Chevrolets. I saw a picture on one with that on Facebook. A 54 was going through tech, was neat looking. And you just see great vehicles and front engine dragsters. The front engine top fuel, not the rear engines that are out here. And they run 5s, and that's pretty stout for what they're doing. And it's neat. It's all the old stuff. They got nostalgia comp, nostalgia this, and then they got a catch-all, which is hot rod, they call it. And hot rod catches everything that can't fall in the class. But if you get a chance, make that one. You will love what you see one time. Or at Edgewater, I know you used to have the NDRL there, which was nostalgia cars, and also you've had the Mafia gassers, or
you got straight axle Mafia,
the
MTR
Mafia.
come down right away.
Yeah. So you get a chance, go see these old cars, and you will see where it all got from. And you're talking steel body too, not all fiberglass and all the stuff we got now, plastic. This was cars. So yeah, get a chance, make that.
Well, I guess the blender in the background and get a little rowdy in here.
Oh yeah, we're getting open.
7570. We're getting ready. Hey, we might do a little filming here in just a little bit as the cars roll in through the cruise in every Thursday night. They're going to come treat you. They're going to treat you right. Come on down. Harrison VFW 7570. I guess that's going to do it for this episode of Redman in the House. Hey, it's a podcast.
See you later.